Hi everyone, here we are with another lesson, microbes in human welfare. We all know besides plants and animals, microbes play an important role. They are the major components of the biological systems on the earth. Okay, that we know very well. They are very small, cannot be seen with a naked eye. Hence, we call them as microorganisms because of their smaller size. Okay, where they are present everywhere in the soil, water, air, even on our body, inside our body, even in other plants and animals, everywhere they are present. Okay, now even they could be seen in the most inhospitable places. Inhospitable places means where normally other organism cannot survive, like high temperature places or snowy places, extremely low temperature places like Arctic and all. So they could be seen in snows, they could be seen in thermal vents, or thermal vents are also known as gases, natural gases they are, where the temperature is around 100 degrees Celsius. Even in acidic conditions they are present. So microbes can survive everywhere. So what are microbes basically? Which group of organism they are? They are basically bacteria, protozoa, which belong to the so bacteria belongs to the Protista kingdom. Protozoa, that is a separate kingdom we know. Protozoans. And fungi, there is another kingdom. Fungi are both unicellular as well as multicellular. We do have microscopic plants under the algae division. So microbes are variety of kingdoms they are present. They are unicellular, and in the same kingdom we could see some multicellular organisms also. Apart from that, microbes can also include virus, virions and prions. We have very controversial idea about virus, like it cannot survive outside the living organism, but when it infects the living organism, it could survive within the host cell. Virus are protein code with the genetic material, virions or just the genetic material RNA, and prions are proteinaceous infectious material, just protein is going to be present in that. This you have learned in grade 11 itself. Okay, microbes cannot be seen with the naked eye, we all know, but we could see their colonies. Like you have a tomato which is kept outside for some time, you could see a white color growth on it. That is a fungal colony which is a microbe over there, isn't it? The same way bacterial and other colonies which is grown on the nutritive medium can be seen. So microbe as a single cell cannot be seen. Colony refers to group of organism, group of microbes together in a nutritive medium, on a nutritive medium, can be seen with a naked eye. So this colony is useful for the study of microbes. So we all know microbes can cause diseases in humans as well as in plants and animals. We have heard of lot many diseases like AIDS, common cold, fever, typhoid, malaria, then even recently now the COVID-19 infection. So many types of diseases can be caused in humans, even in plants and animals. But not all microbes are harmful to us. Some of them are really useful, and we are going to learn how these microbes are useful to us. Okay, so first thing we are going to learn here how the microbes are useful in making household products like dairy products. We are making idli, dosa batter, we are making pizza dough, we are making bread, even making juices, and there are so many things out of it. So that is what we are going to learn first. So the main dairy product we get is curd, tair. So how do we make curd generally at home? We boil the milk, we let it cool down to a warmer temperature, then we add the curd which is already there at home, depending on the quantity. Say you are taking 200 ml of milk, 1 tablespoonful of curd you will add, mix it nicely, close the lid tightly, airtight you have to keep it, and you wait for say overnight. Then the next morning you see the fresh curd prepared over there. This is what we generally do. So what actually happens when you add a spoonful of curd already? The spoonful of curd we are adding has millions of microbes which can convert milk into curd. So what is actually there in the spoonful of curd? There are a lot of microbes. Millions of microbes are there. So which microbe is actually present in that? Lactic acid bacteria. It is a group name. It includes various types of lactobacillus in it. Okay, lactic acid bacteria, in short LAB. So that is present in the spoonful of curd we are adding. So what is actually there in the milk? Milk has milk sugar, lactose, and the milk protein is known as casein. When you add lactic acid bacteria, what actually happens is the lactose is converted into lactic acid. The lactic acid is acid, so the pH is obviously going to be low. The low pH of the milk coagulates it. Okay, coagulation means getting thickened, like a solid blocks are being formed. That is what is called coagulation. So when you even make omelette, what happens to the egg white? It from a jelly like consistency, it becomes a solid like consistency, isn't it? That is because of protein coagulation which happened due to temperature. Here the protein coagulation occurs due to lactic acid, which lowers the pH. Low pH is responsible for coagulation and partial digestion of milk protein. What is the name of milk protein? Casein. So first lactose is converted into lactic acid, then this lactic acid is responsible for low pH, which partially digests and coagulates milk protein. What we get is curd. The blocks we are getting is proteins. Okay, so we initially add a spoonful of curd, isn't it? That is known as starter or inoculum. Starter culture or inoculum refers to the microbes which you are adding to initiate the process. So you have to provide a suitable temperature. So normally what we have in our area is a suitable temperature, which is around 25 degrees Celsius. If you keep it at 30 degrees Celsius, you get good quality of curd.